And good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Mr. Kassarian, and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. Alright, so we are working on thrusters still, which is all sorts of joyous fun, I admit. Yeah, right. Oh, propulsion systems. But actually, I wanted to talk about a couple other things while I was here today. Basically, I wanted to talk to you guys about what you guys thought about me using a system like Patreon. Now, before I really talk about this, I just want to make wicked clear to everyone in this conversation that I do not expect people to give me money, all right? If I did, I would be working another job, okay? This is not a job for me. This is something fun that I do on the side. However, and that's just kind of a big however, it requires money, okay? Requires a fair amount of money and time, and that time could be spent, making money. And the money it requires tends to be, you're working on this and you're rendering, and you have to think about when you're rendering, and you have to actually record videos, which is no small thing to do. So here's what I wanted to say, which is I don't want anyone to ever feel like they have to donate to me, okay? I don't want that, all right? I don't want that at all. How many components do I need? Oh, God, that's math. 815, okay. I don't want anyone to ever feel like they have to donate to me, okay? That's first and foremost. I don't... As I said, I don't do this for the money. If I did, I'd be doing something else. All right, so let's say... Oh, that's a lot easier. That's a lot easier. Hopefully I actually have enough resources to do all this. Well, we'll see. We'll find out. If not, I can always get my mining ship from the main base and bring it over here. While that's building, what am I going to do? Oh, this stuff. So, as I was just saying, I don't want anyone to ever feel like they have to donate. That's not the point. This should be, if you want to donate and you want to support me, I just want you to be able to. So, now that that's been said, I've been thinking about using something like Patreon. And Patreon's kind of like a subscription donation model. And I'm not entirely certain how I feel about it, partially because when you guys click the donate button, I actually don't see it for a decent length of time. Like, it takes time for the donations to, like, trickle their way to me. It's like end of the month they actually process the pledges. Which is fine, but I don't know. It kind of feels a little bit weird. So, but what I wanted to talk about were rewards, because, it always helps people. Justifying spending $5, $10, whatever dollars, to have something that they're getting from it. And it also keeps people from, unpledging, basically. So, thinking about that, what would you guys like to see as rewards? I mean, I have a couple ideas. Excuse me. I mean, the most basic thing that everyone who donates would get would be some sort of a credit reel appearance, basically. I want it to be clear, hey, this guy donated. This guy's a cool dude. I appreciate this guy. He gets into the credit reel. Okay? The other possibilities to do would be to allow you guys and the donators to kind of choose what I'm building. This would kind of be, do two things for me at the same time. Primarily, what it would do for me is actually give me more ideas. Because right now I've kind of hit this point where I'm like, it's I'm working on all this, I'm doing all this, and every now and then I just run out of ideas. It's just like, okay, now what am I doing here? And I've almost hit that point. Well, part of this is I just have so much crap to finish in this game that I just haven't gotten done yet. Oh my gosh. That, it's really quite amazing. So it would give you guys, some more control. And depending on what tier you're pledging into, you get to pick, what you want to do. And you know, what you want me to do and how big or complicated that thing is. So, you know, okay, you're donating $5 a month. Don't give me I'm not going to accept a project that's going to take me, you know, an entire season almost to complete. It's just not going to work. All right. I have to remember that, you know, I need time to do things like eating, sleeping, homework, real work, you know, all that fun jazz. So there's one idea. The other idea, so it would be like, you know, if you donate $5 a month, you get a small project. You donate, you know, $15 a month, you get like a multi-episode project. And if you donate more than that, well, then you get more fun stuff, I guess. I don't know. That's one idea. The other idea for the highest tier of donators is actually allowing those donators to come in and actually play with me in my Let's Play world. Okay? I am hesitant about that for some games, like Crusader Kings, because I can see all the fun trollery that might happen there. I guarantee it would take about 10 seconds for someone to decide to troll the living daylights out of me. But on the other hand, I think it would be kind of cool to actually offer that to you guys as an option. Because, you know, that's not an opportunity you guys get often. You guys get to hear me, not necessarily see me. And I kind of think that would be kind of cool. I kind of think that would be kind of cool. Jeez. I think it would be cool. I think it would be cool for you guys, and I actually think it would be kind of cool for me too. Because I don't get to interact with some of you guys enough. All right? Quite simply put. Which is also to say, guys, comment, please. I haven't been good the past couple weeks about responding to comments in my videos. I have been atrociously busy. I mean, I have been silly busy pretty much the last couple weeks. You know, school's been really quite difficult. I really haven't had much time to do anything, really. And it's been kind of messy. And trust me, you guys aren't the only ones who are kind of irritated at me for it. You know, get in line. My girlfriend's back there, too. Trust me. Actually, she's kind of like the first one in line, but, you know. Shh. So, there's an idea. You know, highest tier donations. You guys get to come in and play with me one game a month. Or one of you comes in to play with me one, you know, recording session. And that's, of course, you know, dependent on my time, okay? So let me clarify that first and foremost. This is completely dependent on my time. All right? I don't want to get myself in a situation where it's like, oh, well, you didn't, you know, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's because, you know, it's final season. So, trust me, the rest of the world isn't seeing me either. But there's an idea for you guys. You know, what do you guys think of that? Do you guys like that idea? Do you guys not like that idea? What do you guys think of the idea of using Patreon? Do you think it's a terrible, terrible idea and I shouldn't do it? Or, you know, is that too money-grubbing for you guys? You know, I don't know. I wanted to ask you guys first before I just sort of run off and do it. Personally, I don't think of it as money-grubbing, personally. As I said, I wouldn't expect anyone... I don't expect... How to say this without shooting myself in the foot? I do not expect anyone to donate to me, all right? I don't. I think that would be silly of me, pretentious, and kind of weird. I'm a YouTuber. I'm not a charity. Okay? And when I say donate, understand, and I have to say this because of my future profession, this would not be tax deductible, blah, blah, blah. I'm not a charity, blah, 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 blah. Okay? All right. So there we go. That'll keep me from getting in trouble with anyone like the IRS. What the heck was that sound? None of my normal suit warnings. All right. So now that little bit's out of the way. What I wanted to say to you guys was basically that I like doing this. I like doing this a lot. If I didn't like doing this, I wouldn't be here, you know, recording right now. I'd be home or still asleep, considering it's before class right now. Yeah. I'm a good student, trust me. And I kind of wanted to apologize, actually, for the crappy, not a lot of Space Engineers videos coming out, but I'm a college student, all right? And I'm getting ready to go to law school right now. And anyone who has ever thought about law school and looked at the application process, it's not fun. It really isn't fun. So I wanted to apologize for that, and I'm in final season, and you know, well, not quite finals yet, but we're in that last gasp of the semester where all you can think about is final season. Right, that one period. So that's just kind of an update on my life. And other than that, yeah, you know, so give me a shout out about that Patreon idea. If you guys like it, I may do it, you know. If you guys, or rather if you guys don't hate it, I think would be a good way to say it. You know, if you guys are going to come back to me and be like, no, don't do it, you're selling out. I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. It's an idea. It's an idea to kind of recoup some of the time and effort that I put into this. And also to give you guys better quality videos. You know, most of this money would be going towards doing better stuff for you guys. I mean, some of it would be going into my pizza and beer fund. But, by which I mean general living. I actually don't get much time anymore to drink beer. Which is a sadness all its own. So yeah, most of it would actually be going into, you know, enabling me to do more of this. So upgrading my system a little bit more, second video card, more RAM, that sort of stuff. Though actually, I'm really quite pleased how well this AMD card's holding up. How well this NVIDIA 760 GTX is holding up for me. Does pretty much everything I wanted to, but really the nice thing about being able to go, say, to SLI would be faster render times. Not horribly faster, but GPU acceleration would still help quite a bit. And that's more of a, you know, behind-the-scenes sort of thing, which is something I can now talk about. Behind the scenes, how long does it take Mr. Kasarian to produce a video? Well, that kind of depends. So it takes me usually about half an hour to an hour to record a 20-30 minute video. That's most of that time is prep, you know. It depends. Like some things like Crusader Kings, I can just sit down and I can just go and I can just record hours of footage. You know, hours worth of episodes just all at once. I don't have to do any prep work. I don't have to wait on anything. I just go. Something like Minecraft or Space Engineers, though, is really a lot more difficult. Unless you get an episode like this, which is mostly just me talking to you guys and just kind of playing the game. If it's an actual episode where I'm working on something or trying to finish a build or, you know, whatever, then it takes a lot longer because I have to do all the prep work, I have to do the groundwork, I have to do all the stuff you see me doing right now before I can actually record the episode. I'll leave that. So that's that. And, you know, you run into issues sometimes. And so it usually... So then once I've done recording, I then have to edit the video. Now, I kind of do in-stream editing, so a lot like, you know, let's say Direwolf20 does, where he doesn't post-edit as much. You know, he cuts stuff out in the video stream, so he just doesn't record that footage at all. That's the style I use as well. It's nice. I like it. It means you have to spend a lot less time actually editing the bloody videos. It's a lot easier. And honestly, video editing is my least favorite part of this whole process. So, alright. Now I've done that. Alright, so let's say that I had to do a lot of audio editing, whatever. It took me about 30 minutes for the episode. So I'm now up to about, worst case scenario, I'm already up to like an hour and a half for one video. Alright. Now I gotta render the sucker. And what rendering it does is it takes it from this uncompressed format that I'm recording in, or not very compressed format at least, that I'm recording in, and it outputs it into something more compressed, something YouTube actually wants to look at. You know, it isn't just a raw AVI file that's bloody ginormous. One of these videos, this video that's in 1080p, this is going to be like 90 gigs on my hard drive. Seriously, it's going to be huge on my drive. All right. So that takes it down and it shrinks it. It compresses it. I won't get into the nitty-gritty of video compression, but suffice to say, it does magic and makes videos smaller. For a little bit of quality loss, but hopefully not enough that it's really noticeable. Okay, so if I'm rendering in 1080, that's going to take another 2.5 hours for a 30-minute episode. Yes, 2.5 hours. So we're now up to a lot of time, and I can recoup some of that, or I can do it in weird places, like, you know, I usually batch render. So I'll put together a whole bunch of videos in Sony Vegas. I'll hit the batch render button, and it'll all render out pretty much in stream. So I tend to do it while I'm, you know, sleeping. Because that, honestly, reduces, it cuts down the waste time. But we're still talking about a huge time investment for one of these videos. You know, so if, say, my week gets busy, I'm not going to have the time to pump these out for you. You know, or I won't be able to do as many, or I can't. You have to prioritize. You know, I have to do more stuff like Crusader Kings, where I can just sit down and go, versus stuff like this. Because there's a limit, you know. There's a limit to how much time I can put into this. Would you stop trying to launch the platform, please? So, you know, there's a limit to how much time I can put into a video like this. I'm not certain what I'm going to do with this back part of the ship, to be honest with you. I was originally intending it to be something, but then I'm like, I don't know. I don't know what this is. It's really not big enough to do much with it. I mean, if I extended it out one more? If I extend it out one more, I don't even know what I'll do with it. I don't even know what I'm doing with this part of the ship. I mean, in some ways, this is going to be a bumper. You know, just a big bumper. I don't even know. Maybe it's just for show. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe this is just a bit of the ship for show. Let's do that. All right, how about that? Yeah, for show. Sure, why not? That seems like as good an idea as any. So, yeah, I kind of have to time manage. You know, you have to figure out where you're going to spend your time, what's going to be the most, not profitable, but most useful for me. And that's going to be Space Engineer episode? Is it going to be, you know, Kerbal Space Program? And Kerbals takes the longest because that actually requires a significant amount of post-editing, which is why I haven't done anything on Kerbals lately. Instead, I've been focusing on this and Crusader Kings because I caught the Paradox Interactive bug again. Don't worry, I'm not going to go back and try and play Hearts of Iron 3 as the United States anymore. I learned my lesson. That makes horrible videos because you're sitting there for like years and years doing nothing. So yes, that's kind of my calculus of how I encode videos and how I work on them and develop them and, you know, whatever. But yeah, the reason I haven't been doing much in terms of other stuff, like, you know, the reason I haven't been doing anything in terms of working on Kerbals is because it just takes a lot of time to do. And it takes a lot of time that I had in the beginning of the semester and I really don't have now. That actually doesn't look bad. Okay. So instead, I've been focusing more and more and more on stuff that I can work on in a limited time period, like, you know, Space Engineers. Or, you know, Paradox Interactive's Crusader Kings. Which, by the way, for all you Kerbal Space people over here, not Kerbal Space, Space Engineers people, seriously, go give it a look. I know it's probably not your cup of tea, but it's actually really fun. And it's really conniving and scheming and Machiavellian and all those sorts of fun things that gamers like. And it's not that fast-paced, all right? I know a lot of Space Engineers players aren't too thrilled with, you know, you guys aren't like fast-paced Twitch gamers, and I'm not either. Don't get me wrong here. I am not a Twitch gamer. Not Twitch TV. I mean Twitch, like Twitch reaction, like woo, shooting. Okay. There's a reason I don't play Call of Duty on my channel. Trust me, you don't want to see that. I'm crap at it. I really am. I'm better at the more contemplative shooters like Arma and DayZ. Even Battlefield, because Battlefield is really quite contemplative. Because it's very easy to screw up and just get yourself killed. And there's no respawn. Like, well, there is respawn, but it's not like, oh, I got shot, I'm alive. No, it's you got shot, you're dead. Sorry, buddy. There's no grace in Battlefield. Trust me, there is no grace in Battlefield. I need to finish tearing this thing apart. Because this is seriously irritating me now. The only reason it's irritating me is because it's still here. And it's actually preventing me from tearing apart the rest of this thing. Which is why I want it gone. Seriously, this is just here, and it's irritating me again. So, yes, getting back to business. Where the heck am I going to put the down thrusters on this thing? I could tuck them in right here, I guess. Right. In there, maybe? Or put them maybe down. Come on. Like that. No, I like them up more. Even if I have to patch in some places in there, I like them up more. So that's my calculus. And thanks for listening to me talk about it. But, you know, you get to this point where you just... What was I just going to say? Right. Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't, like, I'm not a fast reaction speed, you know, go gamer. I never have been. I'll be honest with you. That's not what I do. All right, quick trick. Turn your assembler off. Go into block mode. Does this only show vanilla blocks, or does it show everything? I think this only shows vanilla blocks. No, it shows some things. But it's limited. So now what we do is we just cancel out everything that's not. There we go. And then we just turn the assembler back on. Assembler turn on. Go assembler, go. So yes, that's kind of the calculus of how I work. And how I play games. And I'm actually a huge strategy gamer. My first video games were actually strategy games, believe it or not. Way back when. My first game was actually... Gosh, I think it was, yes. It was Castles 2 Siege and Conquest, which I can only describe as being like proto Crusader Kings. It really was. It was you were trying to seize the throne of the King of France, I believe. I think that was it. Yeah, I need steel tubes for these. You were trying to seize the throne of the King of France. Yeah, during a succession crisis. I mean, it was old. Understand, it was old. We're talking DOS days. I mean, we're talking like way back when. And but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. Never figured out how to play it. I couldn't even read yet, really. I just clicked buttons, and I kind of knew what they did, and I could kind of read. I mean, that like weird point when you're a kid where you're like, I kind of can read, but not really. I don't have the vocabulary to actually like read this. And I was playing it. And I loved it. I loved it. My parents were all behind it, too. Because it was a history game, right? I mean, all my games were history games. Every single one of them. Up until I got fairly older. I think my first shooter was actually Battlefield 1942. So that tells you how long I've been a Battlefield franchise player. That was my first shooter. I'm 23, by the way. So if that gives you guys a clue as to, you know, how long ago a lot of this was. That's how old I am. So, but yeah, I've always been a gamer, and my parents have always been techies, and so I've never had to like defend my hobby from my parents. You know, some gamers have that experience where it's like, no, Mom, this really is valuable. No, my parents have always seen the value of it. In fact, my mother is actually a special... she's a learning specialist, I believe, is the best way to say it. She's not well, she does SPED work, special education work. It's complicated, all right? I don't entirely get what she does. That's not... She does a lot of things, all right? Let's just go with she does a lot of things. She's on a second master's. And she actually asked me, she's like, oh, you know, would this be good for the kids to play? I'm like, And there's nothing, like, dirty in Crusader Kings, but it's Crusader Kings. I mean, it's the political realities of what happened at that point in time. And those political realities were messy. Let's go with messy. Messy's a good way of saying it. Yes, messy. Assassinations, murder, forcing people to marry other people so they're part of your dynasty so you get claims on other people. I mean, that's the sort of... It's the Middle Ages. What do you want? These people were, like, cruel and nasty and, it's a fun game. So, so they've always seen the value of video games as an educational tool, which I think is huge, And honestly, if Crusader Kings was a little bit more historically focused, a little bit more how Hearts of Iron is kind of historically focused, I'd be much happier with the idea of using it to actually teach kids, about history. But it does do a very good job of teaching you how things worked in that time period, if that makes any sense. So it's very good at teaching you, okay, well, this is how people acted. This is how they thought. These are the motivations that went into their decision making. And once you understand motivations, you can understand history. Once you understand why we went to war, or why World War I started, or why everyone was so quick to jump at World War I, or II, or, the 100 Years' War, you really start to understand where we're coming from and where we're going in human nature. And I know I'm getting philosophical here, but I'm killing time, so sue me. I have like 3 minutes left of this episode. I need to kill some time. And I like to talk about this. So, deal with it. Once you understand that everything we're experiencing today, all of it, almost all of it, really, is in a lot of ways continuation of historical trends. Every religion goes through this phase where, for whatever reason, they decide that killing everyone else is a great idea. Christianity did it, and Christianity got it out of its system. Middle Ages. Most Christians by now are, pretty okay with allowing other people to live, which is good. I appreciate that. Kind of a prerequisite for a modern society. But then you start to understand things like, okay, Clash of Civilizations in Huntington. Sorry, poli-sci major. These different civilizations have completely different worldviews. And, this is going to sound racist. I don't want it to, all right? So understand that right off the bat. That is minerals. Understand that off the bat. I don't want this... I don't mean this in a racial way. But every society has different rules, and every society has different standards of conduct. And they're very different from each other. Very, 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 very different from each other. And, you wonder, can democracy work in a Middle Eastern culture? Can it? I don't know. I actually don't know the answer to that. I haven't figured one out for myself yet. I don't know if it can or it can't. We haven't seen one that's long-lasting, let's put it that way. Can it? I don't know. Maybe. But I think the historical record is against it. I think the cultural values might be too different to accept what so far has been a uniquely Western form of government. I think there's so much hatred wrapped up in the world and in the history of it. And a lot of it's well-deserved. I mean, all right, we definitely invaded you in the Middle Ages. And we definitely invaded you after the Middle Ages. And we kept invading you whenever we had the opportunity. Because we do that. But it's not just us who do that. So that's part of my complaint. It's not just the West that does that. The West just ended up doing it the most recently because we had the ability to. Because we advanced faster than everyone else did. Everyone does it. Everyone who has the opportunity does it. As soon as man figured out what blood was, he was off bashing his neighbor with a rock. All right? As soon as man figured out what property was, he was off bashing his neighbor with a rock. This is mine, this is yours, well, it ain't anymore. Whack. That's human nature. It's how we work. It's what we do. We're jerks. We take stuff from other people and call it our own. That's the answer. That as simple as that. And it's unfortunate, and it's terrible, and we shouldn't. Well, that's debatable whether we should or shouldn't. But that's the way it works. And religion just happens sometimes to be a very convenient mask for it. At the end of the day, I don't really think that most of the leaders of ISIS or Al-Qaeda or whatever you want to call them, whichever group it is today, I don't think the leaders themselves are necessarily as devout as their followers would like to think. You know, these are men who want power, just as men of humans, excuse me, have wanted power throughout history, and they're going to keep trying to build that power. Just the nature of things, you know. You can't get away from it. Horribly depressing thoughts, I agree. So, guys, let me know about that Patreon idea. Just let me know what you think. Good idea, bad idea, you know. Do you think I should do it? Do you think I shouldn't do it? Don't waste my time. Don't bother. I'll quit watching your channel if you do it. I don't foresee that being a reasonable reaction by many people, but I've seen weirder things on the internet before. You know, I'm not selling out. I'm not, you know. I actually got a channel partnership thing the other day. I'm like, a network partnership. I'm like, no. You know, no. But anyways, guys, this has been Mr. Kasarian. I want to thank you all for watching. Let me know. Do remember, you can also follow me on Twitter, twitter.com, Mr. Kasarian, same username. Don't worry about it. And yeah, guys, hopefully I will see you. Well, hopefully I will see you in the next episode, guys. Thank you for watching. And yeah, happy flying.